I'm that girl who wants to say to you, thank you. We are doing incredible things for humanity. And all of your teams said this to me yesterday in a private session where they wanted to really acknowledge and appreciate all of the things that you guys are doing by simply listening to this information and applying whatever you can to yourselves. When you are with other people, whether it's on a bus or driving on the streets or at supermarkets or just being in your homes, your energy is of service, profound service. And even if you don't talk to these other people, you are being of service. And they wanted to reassure me that you guys, us as a team right now, are doing great things. And humanity needs really great things right now, doesn't it? Because it's looking like it's getting pretty intensive, and it's not going to just suddenly stop, is it? These grand awakening experiences are going to get more intensive. And I have tried and begged and cried and bartered and try to convince our collectives, we can get there, please don't do these things. Please don't expose these people to these tragedies and these heartbreaks. And with much love, the collectives have told me to get a grip emotionally and see the things from the bigger picture, which is everything people are about to experience is purposeful and super significant. And so when I've said, well, what does it look like? What do we have to wait for the bigger events, for the shift to occur? And they have said a lot of people need exit points. And I'm okay with that, you know, because I can see the bigger picture and all of that. But right now, I'm feeling the emotions of that, because so many people haven't stepped into a maturity of trusting and having faith and understanding of what these lifetimes are about, and that we do have reincarnation. And I know it's a big step and leap in faith for many people. But when I've heard thousands of people's experiences in other lifetimes, profound experiences in other lifetimes, which makes perfect, beyond perfect, and fully explains the lifetime they're living now, I can't deny. I'm not a denier anymore, but I am definitely an explorer of feelings still. And so when the collectives say to me that it's not going to be influencers who will die that will make people suddenly notice certain things are not empowering people or keeping people safe and healthy, I keep asking our teams, can just famous people die at this point to awaken us all? And they say it's not enough. It's not enough. That won't awaken. They have to experience loss personally. And so remembering us adults have been here to do and be of service, and we've signed up to certain contracts to be able to be where we need to be. And there is a common belief that volunteers are not meant to have children. They don't want the karma and they don't want the distractions. And as we know, since each time these delays of the shift have occurred, more and more volunteers and more big souls are coming onto this planet to lend a hand. And so there are many special families around the world that have got these special gifted children, and those children were to teach the parents a whole bunch of things. And what many children have signed up for to be of service now, given the new extended times that we have now, for those parents who need to wake up because they have profound capabilities of holding massive energy fields of good, and are very capable of amazing things, but because their lives have formed them and suppressed them and manipulated them to be off service, not because they're bad people, but because they're really marinated and totally drenched into the 3D. So those parents who are great souls, great gifts to humanity that are just quite not there yet, they're going to have to experience the most painful thing that any human can experience. We're mature about it. We're okay about it, right? We know that that is serving them. They're going to be profoundly triggered. And what we know about being triggered is that you get to awaken, you get to grow and expand. And while you're in that triggering and it's a nightmare, you're going to suddenly be very, very, very aware of something else. You're going to awaken, you're going to expand your consciousness. A whole lot of things are going to happen for you. And this sounds dreadful. And I know there are some people with lazy assumptions who think that me being a practitioner, I am coercing and manipulating the information from the subconscious. And that's really cute, but delusional. I can't manipulate high dimensional beings, even if I try to. I have begged to have softer awakenings. And the collectives have tried and tried and tried and tried. And so we're just getting to this crunch time where there just has to be no other opportunity or choice now. And the soul's totally fine. All the souls are totally fine. They know this is a play. They know that this is just, you know, a fun experience that we've all chosen to be in. And when the veil of forgetfulness is removed, you know, we have a great laugh about it. And I'm feeling all of this density, incredible density, because I can feel that I am preparing myself emotionally to get this out of the way, get the snot bubbles and the tears out of the way, and just feel my way through it and overcome. I was going to say overpower myself. It would be more like empower myself to stop this emotions. I acknowledge it. It's heartbreaking. It's hideous. But it's purposeful. And as we know, many of our own personal experiences have been horrific, but we've survived. We've grown from it. We've experienced it. And those people who are needing a profound nudge are going to be given it one way or another. And so this is why we've all been desperately trying to awaken humanity, trying to gently guide people and sowing those seeds of information so they can start actually awakening to the other agendas. And it's going to look like the other agenda is profoundly winning. But the joke's on them because we're just shifting. There is no winning. And for those collectives who still believe that they should inherit this earth because they feel like they are the ones who should be given everything, I respect all collectives. It would be ridiculous of me to not respect all collectives because all life contracts have been supported by all of their collectives. And while there has been disharmony within the collectives and not such pleasing life contracts for all collectives, as we know, we have to respect all life contracts. From a 3D perspective, we have to respect all life contracts. And if those people are still, if anyone is out there who is still angry that someone has a life contract and behaving a certain way and influencing humanity in a certain way, you're in a really 3D perspective of that. Raise your vibration, see things from the bigger perspective, understand what they're trying to teach us and what experiences they're forcing us to resist and expand and move on from. So I'm feeling this now and preparing myself to find that balance and neutral. And it is motivating me just to check in with a lot of my mummy friends just to let them know that whatever choices they make, I love them and I will always be here for them. And I know lots of parents are not wanting to follow and comply, but they just feel that they have no other choices. And we know that's not true. Everyone has choices. So yeah, it's just an emotional roller coaster right now. And we have to trust that the collectives are working together, and that for those certain few that still think that they should inherit ruling over this planet, they are given that illusion, even though they are starting to be aware that the shift is occurring and that they are not able to go to the fifth dimensional planet, and they would have to then go to other 3D planets, and they don't have the actual rights to take over those planets. So as you can tell, some of the reptilian collectives are not thrilled with me, and that is fine. I'm not here to please everyone. I'm here to understand my life role and purpose, and what I'm supposed to be doing to help people in all collectives. So I'm not going to take it personally. Certain collectives influences who are pissed off with me because they are trying to keep the narrative of the new earth being here while still selling and promoting fear, because then that's just going to keep everyone being here on this planet for longer. So I don't judge them for trying. They've got away with a lot for a long time, and that is okay. It's all choices, and lots of lessons are being experienced as we are exploring things. So try not to dip into fear too much. Try to honor these feelings, because when we're going to have to start supporting others who are experiencing some really painful things ahead for them, we will be able to easily identify how challenging it is, and the chaos that will follow when many parents are awakening to this because they have trusted the wrong agendas. It is going to be scary. It is going to be very, very scary. And so, unfortunately, we know things aren't going to get better. For those people who are awakening and processing, it's going to just be more intensive. And over the last month, the energy has been very intensive to the point where people have to stop and focus on their lives. And many people are trying to distract themselves with different things, but their teams are very diligently making us all focus on what we're supposed to be focusing on. And so if you've struggled recently over the last sort of month to really suddenly you felt like you've got all this inner work that you had no idea you had, it's not a case of you suddenly just developing this new inner work. It is a case of them reintroducing some of your hang-ups and your blocks in different ways that just seems like a lot of stuff just coming out of the closet. And so of course, if we have put away a lot of trauma and experiences and we don't want to learn from them and don't want to process them, and we just put them in our past and forget about them, but we're carrying them as emotional luggage, our teams, with much love, will create new situations for us to face, to be able to overcome those things, to be able to heal from all the past and identify with it and actually empower ourselves through that. So super purposeful, but not so fun, right? And so while many people are avoiding the baggage that is behind them in time, your teams are forcing you to go into pathways where there is harder experiences that you can't escape. And so this isn't a punishment. I want to reassure you of that. But it is about focusing on the most appropriate things. And so No one is going to escape inner work, especially those powerhouse special beings who are here to be of profound service. Just because you can't remember the power that you can hold and the significance and importance of who you are and why you are here doesn't mean that your teams have forgotten who you are. They're very well aware of all of your skill sets and very well aware of the power and the energy and the frequency that you are naturally able to hold. And so they will be shaking you with much love to just deal with that density once and for all. And it seems strange that when we want to be in higher perspective and just have the inner peace, they're dragging us down before things really start kicking off for us to really, really remove all that density. Because when these things start really kicking off, there's going to be so much more density around. We needed to have released every little nook and cranny of our own stuff to be able to hold that higher frequency profoundly. And it's going to get very intensive. And we've known this for ever since, if you've been following Dolores Cannon and her work, even when she was publishing those books, before the shift, it was going to get, and always was going to get, very, very intensive. And so this is why I keep questioning those people who say that the fifth dimension and New Earth is just a mindset here, and that there is no destruction, and it's all just, wanting to focus on love and light, and suddenly you're going to have a sparkling body. It's confusing when there is so much disinformation, and actually it's quite frustrating, because when we are sharing the ultimate truth from the subconscious, from many different clients, from our raw sessions that is freely available for all to hear, the raw sessions, feels frustrating that there is so much censorship and so many people not really wanting to put in the effort and the energy and the time and commitment it is to listen to that information, scanning for dates, scanning for gossip, scanning for entertainment. And your teams are really wanting you to have focused a lot of your inner work and then go back to these sessions and hear them with your fresh, new, mature ears. I understand the information is not easy to process when you're still having to unpack a whole lot of your own belief systems from other influences and other stepping stones that have made you feel comfortable that you know what's happening and what the new earth is and all this stuff. And then suddenly you're hearing from many other people's sessions that there is a journey you have to go to, a physical shift. It's a physical destination shift. It is a destination. And so whatever gives you joy, but in the coming days, but it's not going to be days, is it? Because people are still refusing to notice what's happening, or even if they do notice what's happening, because it's not affecting them personally, they're not going to stand up. They're not going to share their thoughts and feelings, and they're certainly not going to support anyone who is struggling, because that just feels like hard work and it's none of my business, that's on them. And so those people who have these choices to have to step up and support others, if they're not doing it naturally and can't see the discrimination that is abundant right now, they're basically acknowledging to their subconscious and their teams that they need more motivation to step up and more motivation to see the agendas and the manipulation. And so that's a scary choices. That's for sure. From my perspective, and I wouldn't want that. I don't wish that on anyone, but if that's what it has to take for those people to really get it, for those people to really stop and question the narratives, that's what it's going to have to take. This is all supported by the teams and your own collectives, your own life contracts now. So yes, it's it's not that easy, is it? When you add the emotions and factor in everything. And feel like they are wanting us to stop being so glum and focusing on the denser emotions, and remind ourselves that all is super significant and purposeful, and that there has to be a profound trigger of a density for that expansion of growth. And we've heard many times in sessions when the client shifts and finds themselves on new earth, they're going to be so tremendously relieved. And I keep saying, well, gosh, you know, like, well, what's happening on earth for them to be so, so grateful that they're no longer here? And it just sounds horrifically chaotic. And there is so much carnage and so much aggression and so much horrible things that are definitely not in peace and harmony, but that is all purposeful. And so it does feel so gloomy, and I'm so sorry that this doesn't feel like an upliftment. But this is about just respecting our realities of what's actually coming. And for those people who get to shift on the first big wave, you know, they have definitely, they're very lucky in some regards, because they don't get to see the old earth experience, which is very dense, incredibly dense. And so it's only those people who are truly able to be of profound service will be able to stay here longer on the old earth. And it seems like that time for how long people get to stay on the old earth is changing as we're getting these extra extensions. So, knowing all this information is purposeful, and it can be extremely overwhelming when we sort of loop in certain steps and stages. But remember, when we hear about the new earth and how profound it is and how amazing it is and how we have profound communities, and it is a super high frequency love vibration, which gives us so much joy. We probably all will be kicking ourselves that we didn't have the courage or the strength or the self-empowerment to help awaken others. And I know that many people want, what is the video to, what's the biggest agenda I should share with my sleepy people? And it's like, it's so sensitive, isn't it? Like, it's so hard to know the right thing that is going to awaken people. All we can say is seeds. But if we start spamming them with all of these videos and all of these, what sounds like conspiracy theories, they're just going to shut down and be overwhelmed. Knowing the bigger truths is such, it's such a responsibility, because we want to bottom out in our emotions and we want to just go into shock and denial and fear and all of that stuff. But we just simply can't keep holding on to that, because then, the dark agenda wins. We lower our vibrations. So they sort of keep talking about spiritual maturity a lot, and how, with this knowledge, we have to find balance in it and not go into fear. And as we all know, fear can look like a whole bunch of different things. And, we don't want to admit that we've got inner work, and we don't want to admit that we're in fear. And, we don't want to admit any of our sort of, I don't want to say weaknesses, but not our biggest strengths. So it is extraordinary times, and we still have time to see this slowly unfolding as more and more people are still complying. And that is going to signal to their teams that they need to be more awoken, more shaken to notice. So all we can do is just brace ourselves and love each other unconditionally, not go into pre-fear, and not assume other people's life contracts, because I think a lot of people misidentify who's playing what role. And so sometimes when you have that sleepy friend that is exactly what their life contract is, and you will not be able to open up their doors of perception or perspective. And so this is why it's almost really important, if one of your questions for your own sessions is, who is in my life that you, my subconscious, would like me to reach out to more and to be able to guide, because they're the people that are supposed to know this information. Because sometimes we go, oh, they look spiritual, they've got a few crystals, they must be ready for this. No. And so it's quite surprising who the subconscious will say, you're supposed to support X, Y, and Z, those people. And the client will say, but that's my boss. Can't say that to my boss. And so, second session, subconscious, you're wanting my client to awaken her boss. She's very nervous. She doesn't want to lose her job. How are you wanting us to go about it, her to go about it? And so the subconscious will say exactly the things that her boss needs to hear for him or her to get those seeds of awakening, because they've been sisters in another lifetime or something, something extraordinary. So it's amazing who is in our lives and why. Super amazing, super purposeful, super significant. And you have so much more support than you sometimes can assume. Lots of people have said to me, I have no one's open to this, I'm so alone. And when we ask the subconscious, like, is that true? Is she really alone in terms of no one in her world open to any of this? The subconscious is like, no, just because they don't want to talk about it. It's like, we have secrets, spirituality thoughts, we don't share it. And remember that time in the session, in one of the sessions, they said that people would prefer to share videos of them doing adult things than actually having a conversation to someone about spirituality. Because it's like deep in the closet. Lots of people are in their spiritual closets and can't come out because they're so afraid, because they're talking about their senses and their dreams, and they're not all human, and they're not all on airplanes, and they're not always on earth. And if you are having these profound experiences, who can you talk to about that without sounding insane? Well, obviously me, because I love that sort of stuff, because it's always confirmed with subconsciouses. And the best thing about the subconscious is that they've got such a higher perspective that when they are answering these questions, they are fantastic. And the clients are always like, oh my God, I didn't even think about that, or didn't even know about that. And every session I have done, when you talk to the client, when they've listened back, because they all listen back, right? Well, eventually listen back, because they're afraid that if they cried in that session, they don't want to feel that pain again, or they're upset. And so they'll really put it off, like, oh no, I know I was upset with emotions through that session, so I'll listen to it later. And when they do get the courage to listen to it later, they actually find that they're not as emotionally impacted as much, and they find it really strange, like, oh, I thought I was going to bawl my eyes out when Nana came into the session, but actually it was really beautiful. And so, yay, fantastic, you've already healed from that. These sessions heal so much emotions and put so much of our own personal issues into profound perspective. And that's another form of healing. While they can physically heal our bodies and remove any aches and pains and discomforts and any diseases and all that sort of fun, incredible stuff, they can also heal the pain of our emotions. And there's nothing more fantastic than missing someone who has shifted, and for them to jump on in and laugh and say, I was there at the funeral, and what you said was so cute, but God, like, just because I've died doesn't mean you've got to make me a legend and a hero. I was still normal and basic and having my own struggles and blah, 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 blah. And so these sessions are so helpful in so many ways. And I know that I keep pushing you and pushing you and pushing you to consider having your own sessions, because I want you to have this love. I want you to have this healing, and I want you to have this perspective, to be able to have the keys of you being able to understand who you're supposed to be helping right now, how you're supposed to be helping right now. This is information and knowledge you're allowed to have for yourself. Absolutely. And if there is still anything that you're curious about or confused about, these sessions are there to help you. It's not cheating. So don't be assuming anything. Get in there, find those practitioners. And in the description of these videos are the links to find the interns as well. So please start empowering yourselves to get these sessions done. And if you haven't already, find Dolores's work. Read these books. They're so high vibrational. They are so high perspective. They truly activate people just on their own merit. And so again, I started off saying you were amazing, and we are all amazing because we're seriously trying to step it up now. We're seriously trying to rise up from this density, be responsible, shake off all our stresses and traumas and worries and concerns, and keep reminding us that we have faith and trust, all is well, because our teams don't tell us nonsense. They would definitely try to tell us if there was something that was really not good, but they've got it under control so much that they wouldn't let something that's not good happen. So it's all perspective. So make our choices right. Empower ourselves, drink lots of water, ground ourselves, reach out to those people that are in our lives, because ultimately we should be able to have unconditional love for all. And if there is still someone in your life that you are trying to avoid for whatever reasons, maybe because their prickly cactuses have just hurt you too much, you can't trust them to not have knee-jerk reactions to give you a few more pokes, send them love, forgive them, because hurt people hurt people. So stop trying to protect yourself from people who may have already overcome their own lessons, because it's almost impossible to avoid inner work right now. So let's just give them the benefit of the doubt that potentially they have healed from their own traumas. We don't know what's in their spiritual closets. And with so many epiphanies happening to all people right now, we can just send lots of love, true lots of love. Because when you're all conversing after the shift, and you all get to see intuitively what you are thinking and feeling of each other, that might be embarrassing. And while there will be no judgment and all choices are going to be respected, are you going to be okay with your choices of judging others who are really hurt, who can't find their way out of their own density? I love you guys. I'm so proud. When your teams all said yesterday in a session that you are really taking this energy and expanding it out, I felt so proud, and I am so proud and honored to be able to be of service, to love you all so much. And maybe tomorrow's session will be without tears. I still need to get tissues here. Okay, love you guys so much. Continually being profound lighthouses for so many people. They deserve you so much. So thank you.